G'day everybody, welcome back to Photo Australia. In this episode, we're going back to the AVs. So I'm going to hand over to you, Grant. What have you got for us today?
Yeah, hi Brad, and hi folks. What we've got today is something I've put together from a trip we did many years ago, we as in Anne and I, in Canada. And this differs from the one that we initially started off doing, which was on slot canyons, because of the music component that I couldn't quite get myself happy with that, because the music I wanted was commercial music, not royalty-free music. So this is using royalty-free music. Hopefully you'll pick up on the story in this. There are a few errors in it, I know that, and we'll talk about those at the end, and hopefully we'll all learn from it. Hope you enjoy.
Okay. Well, it's fantastic, Grant. It was funny, Grant showed me this just before we started recording, and I said, how fantastic some of the photos were, and just the compositions of how it tells a story. I said, but there's just one thing, and he already interrupted me, and he says, "Oh, I bet you've got an issue with the titles." I said, "With the writing." I said, "Yeah." He says that I should be bringing them in from the other side. I went, "Oh, you took the words out of my mouth there, Grant." So, so it just shows you, and I'll pass to Grant. He can talk a bit about that, of the reasons why. But to get to this stage is fantastic, Grant. And I guess you're probably at this stage of polishing those last few little things off. So, did you want to add a bit to titles and stuff there, Grant? Or?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. You're absolutely right. And the beauty of doing this sort of stuff is that you make it and you replay it and you fine-tune it and you fine-tune it and you fine-tune it. Look, this is a story of a trip that we did. This all actually happened. Those of you in the Northern Hemisphere watching this, or those of you with a good general knowledge, will know the story of the Queen of the North ferry when it hit rocks and sank on a maiden voyage after a major refit. 2 people didn't make it off the boat in time as she went down. I believe she lies in some 1,300 metres of water or something, and a terrible story. Now, we were supposed to catch that boat at this terminal pictured here, and it sank a night or 2 before we caught it, or were supposed to have caught it. 2 people on the train with us that ran out of fuel were on that boat, but fortunately got off safely. So it's a terrible story, and you can find out the whole thing on Wikipedia. If you Google Queen of the North, the whole story comes up there, and I suggest you do, because it's a tragic but interesting reading. So yes, Brad, we went through it, and if we can get to that clip where we brought that text in.
So I'm just slowly showing you from here.
This one here, yep.
Yep, so we've just gone straight from there, and well, I can play it from there.
Yep.
Let's hit play now. And we can see that the text coming in.
Yep. Right, so if you just pause it there. Now that should come in from the right of screen. So you're reading it as it comes in, because the way it's coming in now, you're actually reading it backwards.
So that was the one thing I picked up on a couple of the titles. And Grant was well aware of it. If you are moving writing across the screen, take note that when somebody's reading, we're reading as that's coming in. Unfortunately, we're trying to read it backwards. Coming in from the other side of the screen would enable you to read it as it's coming across the screen. Now, that's not to say that don't do it at all. It means that if you are going to pull in writing from left to right, you'll have to give extra time for that title to stay on the screen. Exactly. Because the person's going to have to read through that sentence when it stops.
Yep, exactly.
These little things are things to note. Like I said, Grant was already aware of it, and I'm glad that you actually brought it forward to us so that we can talk about little things like that.
Yeah, I'd like to claim that I actually did that.
Did it on purpose?
To give you an example of what not to do. Partially true, but I picked it up this morning when I was going over this for the final time, and when I ran it through for the last time, I thought, oh no, that's wrong. But it was too late to change it.
And I haven't given you much time to really do this AV because you've been doing a lot of other things. So.
Only about 5 months, I think, Brad. I've been working on this, but then changed.
But you haven't been working on it for 5 months, though.
No. And that's really important because it's easy to change in PTE and any of the programs. This sort of editing is quite possible. PTE has saved this in a file on my PC back home where I can now go in and make these changes quite easily and simply, and I will show you in a future edition as to how to actually do that. And it's not hard. It's relatively simple.
Now, there's one thing you were telling me off camera was some of the story of your trip, which didn't come through into the AV because there was a lot more that happened behind your travels, like the train, and even your flight out of there as well.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
you can't just fill your AV up full of writing. You've actually got quite a bit of the story. I've picked a good spot here with your
perfect.
train running out of fuel. A train running out of fuel, Grant. Really.
Hello, VIA Rail.
So, what's another way? Because you had quite an interesting trip, Grant, and surprising that after all everything that went wrong, you decided to hop on an aeroplane.
That's right.
And didn't you land in a storm or something with that aeroplane?
Yeah, we did. Look, I'll go right back to the beginning, and it's a good point, Brad. I would like to narrate over this, okay, and have a voiceover as it goes through. And I've tried to do that in PTE using their narration tool, and I'm getting mixed results. I'm getting a lot of echo and a lot of sound modulation issues, and that could be my microphone. But I've noticed in our workshops that we've done, our master, John Hodson, has recommended that we use different audio programs to record our audio. And I want to throw back to you on that because I'm the amateur now. I'm in a field I know nothing about now.
So you're turning from one amateur to another amateur.
Well, I think you've probably fiddled with these things a little more than I have. So, how do we make good audio on this, Brad?
Okay, we're going to leave that episode right there. So stay tuned. I'll get the next couple of episodes on this subject out fairly quickly, probably even through the week. So keep your eye out for those. If you like the channel, please give us a thumbs up, a like. Hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.